Hi, this is a quick informal video about upgrading from AuthLite 2.4 to version 2.5 and turning on the new features and how to use them. So you can see here, this is my domain controller and I've got 2.4 installed. It has the typical two group pairs that you would have if you're using AuthLite to control domain admins and perhaps normal users as well. And then I have an installer here for 2.5, which I'm just going to run right over the top of the old one. You get this installer right from our website on the downloads page. And I'm going to go through all of the default features here, just leaving them as they start. And then after this install completes, I will have to do a reboot. This will have to be done on each DC. I'll skip over the actual restarting here and then resume the video here while it's logging me back in. When you log in after the new version, it should automatically launch the configuration app after a minute, or you can launch it yourself if it doesn't. You see here now I've got 2.5 installed. It still has my settings from before, my license, and the same group pairs. The first thing I'm going to do is turn on this checkbox, support nesting in two-factor tag groups, and we'll see what that does later. But by default, when you upgrade, it doesn't turn on the new features. It assumes you want to leave everything the old way for lack of surprise. So you turn on that checkbox, and then the next thing I'm going to do is launch AuthLite admin PowerShell here as an admin, and the create AuthLite groups function will add some new groups and pairs that we can use for our administrators, which I'll show you here by going back to the config app, reloading it so it gets the new settings. Now in group pairs, you'll see I've got the same ones that I had before at the bottom, and they'll work the same way. We haven't changed anything for any users, but we've added some new pairs you could use potentially if you want enterprise and schema and account and backup operators. If you have users of those class that you would like to secure with AuthLite, you can now toggle them into those new AuthLite groups instead of their root power groups. We also make the new groups in 2.5 in this container or this OU at the root called AuthLite groups. You don't have to keep them here or even keep that OU. You can rename the groups or whatever to whatever you want. The old version, the 2.4 and previous, put the groups here in the users container, so I'm just going to move them over here. You don't have to do that either. You can leave everything where it is. Next, I'm going to go grab an AuthLite user who is currently in my domain admin's control, meaning that they're in AuthLite DA instead of the real domain admins because I'm using AuthLite to control them. Now I'm going to add that this user is also going to be under AuthLite protected enterprise and schema. The new format of this is the AuthLite protected instead of just AuthLite DA. We got more descriptive. So I can actually rename these old groups to the new way that we called them in 2.5. Again, you don't have to do this. You can leave them the way you've got it. I'll do the tag groups too, to the more verbose way that we renamed those. So AuthLite 1F tag actually just stands for AuthLite one factor session tag. It's called tag just because we affix the group to the user's Kerberos ticket like a tag to say how they logged in. Same thing for two-factor tag here. Okay. So let's look at this user's groups now. So see he's an AuthLite user. He's under AuthLite protected domain admins and enterprise admins and protected schema admins too. So when he logs in, he will get all of those real groups, but at rest he's safe. So if I launch a PowerShell command as this user, I have to put in his two factors. I'm just going to do it right here from the domain controller with my YubiKey. And inside the session, I'll say, who am I? So make sure I'm the right user. And then who am I /groups. And you'll see here I have real domain admins, real schema admins, and real enterprise admins, having started from the AuthLite protected version of those groups. So just like we used to do for domain admins, now you've got the same technology to protect enterprise and schema if you want. And same thing for account operators and backup operators if you want. Now let's talk about how the group nesting works. In AuthLite 2.4, if you made a group and you wanted to switch a user into that group with the same mechanism of group pairs, they would get the group that you asked them to switch into. But if you put another group hung off of that first one, so if the first group had the other group as a nested member, meaning you want the user to be in a group, and then you also want them to get the implied group just because of nesting. That implication would not have worked in AuthLite 2.4. You would just get the one that you put as the pair, but not the other one. So if I make, I'm going to make an AuthLite protected group for that target group that I called a group. So my AuthLite protected will be the first part of the pair, and then the true group called a group is the second, is the right-hand side of that pair. So when I put users into the AuthLite protected one and they log in, they will get the target group, the one that I called a group. And because of the new nesting that we turned on with that checkbox, they will also get the implied group, which a group is nested into. So I'm going to start this session again, a fresh login with my username, password, and YubiKey. And I will again examine what groups I have. And we see same as before, I've got all the same groups from before, but now because I'm in AuthLite protected a group, I get real a group, and I get the implied group, which the only way that I could get that is because of the nesting from a group to implied. So that part of the group switching magic is because of this new support nesting and two-factor tag groups. So if you turn that checkbox on, you should get that to work. Now, don't forget, the upgrade needs to be done in each DC. If you leave some of your DCs on 2.4, you'll get weird results, so they should all be running the same version. That's it for this video. Feel free to reach out on our contact page if you need any assistance or have questions about the upgrade. Thanks for watching.